Today we're talking about the SP3 lenses from Cooke Optics. Telling stories through filmmaking isn't just about recording what's in front of you, it's really about capturing what it feels like to be there. For over 130 years, Cooke Optics has helped filmmakers do exactly that. Their lenses shape the very language of cinema, the texture of time, the glow of memory. From silent era to Kubrick, Bergman, and the French Connection, Cooke has always been more than glass. Today the legacy continues with the SP3 series, 6 prime lenses with a t-stop of 2.4, designed for the mirrorless world, but built with the Cooke soul. The 18mm 2.4, the immersive perspective. This is the widest of the series, perfect for landscapes, interiors, and wide shots that pull the audience in. Field of view is 99 degrees on full frame. Close focus just 10 inches. But what makes it so special? It's not distortion heavy like other ultra-wides. Instead, it holds its emotion, natural, grounded, and expansive. Use it to place characters inside their world without losing intimacy. The 25mm 2.4, the honest wide, just wide enough. I shoot most of my stuff on the 24mm from Canon, and this 25mm is just perfect for what I do. The 25mm strikes a perfect balance between spatial awareness and human scale. It gives context without exaggeration, ideal for walk and talks, ensemble scenes, or dynamic handheld work. Think of it as the lens that keeps things real without losing style. 32mm 2.4, the cinematic middle ground. This is the 32mm I'm shooting this on right now. They shot most of the TV show Adolescence with the 32mm. This is the filmmaker's comfort zone. Not too wide, not too tight, just right for narrative storytelling. Perfect for scenes with emotional dialogue, nuanced gestures, and intimate blocking. It frames characters naturally, the way your eye wants to see them. If your whole story was told on one lens, this could be it, just like in Adolescence. 50mm 2.4, the emotional core. The 50mm mirrors how the human eye sees the world. That's why it feels so personal. Use it for close-ups, for connection, for intimacy. The background falls away. The performance pulls forward. And Cooke's signature rendering, it gives skin tones life, eyes depth, and memories texture. The 75mm 2.4, the sculptor of space. The 75mm compresses space, turns crowded environments into portraits of isolation. Perfect for pulling your subject out of a busy frame. It's the lens for poetry, tension, stillness, and beauty. This isn't just a tighter crop, it's an entirely different way to see. The 100mm 2.4, the intimate distance, the longest lens in the set. Use it to isolate, to create drama, for stillness, to carve the subject out with painterly bokeh and graceful separation. Close-ups feel cinematic, never clinical. It's the lens for details that matter. Built with purpose. What unites the SP3s isn't just focal length, it's philosophy. All 6 lenses share lightweight aluminium barrels, interchangeable mounts, E-mount, RF, L, and M, matching gear positions, dual scale focus, metric and imperial, T2.4 across the set. That means faster swaps, easier rigging, and perfect consistency on multi-lens shoots. Why the SP3s matter now? We're in a mirrorless world. Fast shoots, hybrid creators, smaller crews. But storytelling still needs soul. The SP3 series brings classic Cooke character to today's lightweight setups without compromise. These lenses are for filmmakers who want more than resolution. They want warmth, they want honesty, they want to feel their images. Whether you're making short films, commercials, travel docs, or passion projects, the Cooke SP3 series helps your work look and feel cinematic from the very first frame. Test them, try them, shoot with them, experience why filmmakers call it the Cooke Look. Because the best lenses don't just show us the world. Cooke SP3 made to feel. They show us what it means to feel something. Since Cooke's founding, every lens has told a story, not just by capturing light, but by shaping how we feel it. SP3 series, based on the iconic Speed Panchros, brings that emotional language to modern mirrorless filmmaking. Cooke lenses were never just born from technology, they were born from intent, a desire to make glass that could feel. By the 1920s, Hollywood had taken notice. The golden age of cinema shot through Cooke glass. Silent films became talkies. Black and white gave way to Technicolor. But through it all, Cooke was there, adding dimension to the dream. In the 1930s, the Speed Panchro lenses changed everything. Faster apertures, softer fall-off. They gave filmmakers the ability to shoot in low light and capture faces in a way that the world had never seen before. Decades passed, technology evolved, but the Cooke Look remained. Stanley Kubrick used Cooke lenses. So did Bergman. In The French Connection, the grid of the streets shimmered with tension. Today, Cooke lenses are still trusted by the world's best cinematographers. From prestige television like The Crown, to visionary films like The Favourite and La La Land. Even in a digital world, Cooke brings back the human touch, because each lens is still handcrafted, not assembled, but built by artisans who machine every element, align every bit of glass, test every curve, not for perfection, but for personality. Because in an industry chasing resolution, Cooke has always chased feeling. You can measure sharpness, you can't measure soul. That's the legacy. That's Cooke, birth of a legend. Invention is in the Cooke DNA. Right from inception, over 130 years ago, it began when H. Dennis Taylor, an optical manager at T. Cooke & Sons of York, attempted to eliminate the distortion at the outer edge of lenses destined for astronomical telescopes. In 1893, Taylor designed and patented the Cooke triplet, British patent number 1991, an elegant solution to design issues that plagued lens designers of that era. A year later, the first Cooke photographic still lens was engineered and sold under the Cooke brand name. The triplet was not only the blueprint for lenses at Cooke, but a design used almost universally for lenses of intermediate aperture worldwide, revolutionizing cinematography. Just a few years after launch, Cooke already had a reputation for excellence. A lens catalogue of 1897 reads, "We guarantee Cooke lenses to be equal to the best of the more complex and astigmats, and are glad at any time to facilitate comparison." When the first silent movies rolled off the production line in Hollywood, they did so with an evolution of the triplet, the Speed Panchro. Early studio famous players, Lasky, later becoming Paramount, standardized production on Cooke lenses to make classics like The Sheik, 1921, starring Rudolph Valentino. Charlie Chaplin made perhaps the greatest film modern times with a Cooke set. So when Martin Scorsese paid homage to the birth of the movies in the 3D drama Hugo in 2011, it was only natural for his DOP Richard Richardson to select a set of Cooke lenses. The Speed Panchro era. The advent of talkies created a great demand for faster lenses because noisy arc lamps could no longer be used, making much existing equipment obsolete. Cooke inventor Horace Lee adapted his f2.0 optic design into a cine prime lens that combined a wide aperture with an angular field of view and definition previously impossible with much smaller apertures. The Cooke Speed Panchro quickly became the lens of choice for Hollywood from the 1920s right through to the 1960s, being used on many major pictures, from the very first Academy Award winner Wings in 1927 to Casablanca, the Best Picture winner in 1942, to The Sound of Music, won Best Picture in 1965. In 1960, Academy Award for the Best Cinematography Color went to Russell Metty, ASC, for lensing historical epic Spartacus, starring Kirk Douglas as the rebel gladiator. Metty used Cooke lenses with a Delarama anamorphic adapter to film in Technirama. The 35mm negative was converted via Panavision printer lenses to a 70mm print. It's directed by Stanley Kubrick, who went on to make The Shining and Eyes Wide Shut with Cooke lenses. Legendary lens designer Gordon H. Cooke crafted the 35mm Cooke Veritol 20-100mm T3.1, released in 1971. It was the first high-quality zoom designed for professional motion picture photography and incorporated a totally new design concept that remained the basis for all Cooke lenses subsequently produced. The lens was also key to shooting Terminator 2 Judgment Day by Adam Greenberg ASC and Elizabeth 1998 by Rami Adi Farasin BSc, who won the BAFTA and was Oscar nominated for his work. Apocalypse Now. After a grueling 15-month shoot in the Philippines, Apocalypse Now was finally released on August 15, 1979. At the time, critics were sharply divided in their assessments of the film, but Francis Ford Coppola's visionary Vietnam War epic is now regarded as a modern classic. The film's spectacular images, shot using Cooke anamorphic zoom, modified by Technovision in Italy, earned Vittorio Storaro, ASC, AIC, his first Oscar and cemented his reputation as one of the world's most brilliant and innovative cinematographers. He won further Academy Awards for Reds in 1981 and The Last Emperor in 1987, also photographed with Cooke's Technovision optics. At the beginning of my career, I was expressing myself only through light and shadows, the maestro says. After Apocalypse Now, I discovered what was inside, color. My clear concept was to achieve balance between these elements of light, shadow, and color. That was my search for equilibrium. The Shining, with the eerie tracking shot, which follows a young boy pedaling through corridor after corridor on his plastic tricycle, we enter the disturbed mind of Danny Torrance, one of many standout sequences devised by the director Stanley Kubrick for the Steadicam on The Shining, 1980. Steadicam inventor and operator Garrett Brown used an 18mm Cooke lens that allowed the rig to pass within an inch of the walls and door frames while maintaining the widescreen scope for the shot. He actually rigged it to a wheelchair that Stanley had made for himself to travel around set, and he had a pole and he has a hard mount the camera there so he could get it like within a few inches of the ground. When you're working with Stanley, there is always a different outlook, a different idea, said the film's director of photography, John Alcott, BSc. Is there any way you can do it differently? Is there any way we can make it much better than it was before? This is how small they are. Quite a small lens, not too heavy. Other lenses. This is a Cooke, the lens cap. I don't know why it doesn't have a clip. It just goes on and off like that, so it doesn't really fall off. It's kind of like air sealed. It's got like a. This is the way that the aperture works. So you change the T-stop by twisting it manually. It's none of this digital business, so there's no communication with the camera. It's all just optical. So when you turn it on, it just says F00. So there's no information going through. At the turn of the millennium, the value of metadata was a given for archiving, but largely overlooked at the acquisition stage. Integral to all Cooke lenses and adopted as an industry standard, the technology is coming into its own with mixed reality filming. Precise data of every lens characteristic can be fed into a virtual production workflow to speed production and iterate creative decisions. The golden age of TV. For some people, Breaking Bad is the best TV drama ever made. Its gorgeous desert landscape captured on 35mm film give the show a characteristic and disarming glow. Other fans might choose Game of Thrones, shot on low-light sensitive digital cameras to accommodate scenes of candlelit skullduggery. How about BBC's hugely popular update of Sherlock, or perhaps Netflix acclaimed serial Narcos spanning the drug wars from 1970s to 1990s? Whichever is your favourite, the consistent through line for each high point in the golden age of TV is that they were all shot on Cooke S4i primes. Cooke takes Oscar home. On February 9th, 2013, Cooke was honoured at the 85th Academy Awards for their continuing innovation in the design, development and manufacture of advanced camera lenses that have helped define the look of motion pictures over the last century. Les Zellin, then chairman and owner of the company, accepted the Oscar. Cooke has been an innovative force in the industry from the birth of motion pictures to the digital film revolution. And there's so many films that have been shot on Cooke. If you go to their website, you can look on the credits. I'll just name a few. The Brutalist, Asteroid City, Wonka, Poker Face, The Batman with DP, Greg Fraser, Stillwater, maybe I just named the ones I've seen. There's Harry Potter from Escape, Martin Scorsese, The Irishman, Motherless Brooklyn, Bohemian Rhapsody. There's 46 pages, so there's a lot of films. Venom, Vice, Darkest Hour, yeah, lots. Cooke manufactures a wide variety of lenses suitable for various film applications. All lenses are color matched and equipped with eye technology, enabling you to interchange with confidence and streamline processes. Easily maintained, accurate and reliable, Cooke lenses are designed to allow you greater creative freedom, capture more. So these lenses are cinematic lenses, so they're not autofocus, they don't communicate with the camera at all, so you don't know what aperture it's at. It doesn't give you any indication, so yeah, everything's done manually, which is, coming from a digital world, might be quite a shock to some people. It doesn't give you any indication. There's no autofocus, so everything needs to be dialed in, and it's a bit hard to do it, you know. So you need a kind of bigger screen to make sure everything's in focus. Like, it's very shallow depth of field at 2.4. It's not as shallow as 1.0 or 1.2, but it's hard to get it in focus, make sure that's right. But yeah, for a set of 6 lenses, basically you're buying the legacy of Cooke lenses too. Cooke SP3 is an exciting new prime lens series based on one of the most influential lenses in film history. The Speed Panchro SP3 is a completely new design optimized optically and mechanically for full-frame mirrorless cameras, which will enable more creatives to enhance the visual narratives of their stories. So painting with light. The great cinematographers have always been interpreters of stories, artists who translate the mechanical and technical into visual language that speaks to our soul. In an age when anybody can capture images in motion, telling emotionally impactful stories requires something different. Making humans look human. So much cinematic storytelling is about performance. Cooke SP3 combines resolution and color to transmit a character's emotion in a more believable way. The calibrated on-axis sharpness of the SP3 optical design subtly draws the viewer's attention to the center of the image to produce an experience subconsciously familiar to human vision. Sculpting with depth. With a suitable combination of focus falloff and breathing, Cooke SP3 lenses naturally lend themselves to the feeling of shape and enable cinematographers to refine a sense of space and dimension. The SP3's all-spherical design gifts the lenses with a gradient quality in the bokeh, which presents a smooth and round when used wide open. The SP3 can offer focus falloff at the edge of the frame, crafted augmentation. Rather than overloading the image with dramatized artifacts, SP3 series organically captures specular flaring and veiled glare, allowing cinematographers to focus on their creative intent. Specialized cinematic optical coatings ensure control of flare and matched color across the set. Dynamic dimensionality. A sharpness designed into the center of the image is complemented by a gentle focus falloff towards the frame edge, offering the DOP extra dimensionality to shape the image. A core imaging effect of using the SP3 is that these lenses are sharp on the optical axis, which translates to being sharp in the center of the image. This is complemented by a delicate falloff towards the edge of the frame, mimicking the way the human eye sees the world. So they're saying there's a kind of out of focus all around the edges, and where you're looking is in focus in the center, which we kind of do with the focus if we want to look far or close, but we do with framing too. But so they're saying in the middle is the most in focus. Dynamic falloff. The SP3 displays the classic Cooke Look characteristics and is super sharp on axis, but designed to roll off towards the edge of frame. 8K and beyond. SP3 is capable of the highest levels of resolution on modern digital sensors. You've probably heard before the Cooke Look, but what exactly does that mean, the Cooke Look? What is the Cooke Look? Let's see if we can find out. On their website it says, cinematographers chose our lenses for the Cooke Look, a sharp, subtle, smooth rendering that provides dimensionality, high contrast, and pleases the eye. Early on in our business, Cooke recognized the need to design, manufacture, and calibrate lenses that produce warm and natural visuals. we've never wavered from the commitment, with each of our lenses being designed with an unrivaled understanding of the pipeline between what the DOP sees and the experience in the movie theater. Resolution. Most people equate Cooke lenses with an indelible softness in the images it produces. In actuality, Cookes are some of the sharpest cinema lenses being produced today, able to distinguish up to 200 line pairs per millimeter. I don't know what line pairs are, but imagine that's some kind of sharpness measurement. When testing a lens sharpness, you test to see how many line pairs it's able to resolve, or how many black and white separate lines on a TV screen it is able to define. For a lens to be rated for a 4K camera, it must be able to resolve at least up to 40 lines per millimeter. Cooke's at a 200 line pair benchmark could be used for systems shooting up to 20K. So that's very sharp, 20K. We really push these lenses. They are mechanically superb, but the sharpness was the best thing. They're pin sharp when you need it, but have a wonderful fall off to creamy softness in out of focus regions. Josh McCabe, cinematographer, documentary short and TV spot for the Global Fund. Flares. The flares produced by Cooke are subtle. Even when pointing them at a bright light source, they're soft and out of focus, less contrasted than their contemporaries, with colours blending into the scene. The Cooke S4 lenses are the ones I turn to when in a tough situation. If I'm shooting directly into practical lights, into backlight, or shooting with the sun in my face, S4 lenses can handle it. Flare is at the minimum, and many times non-existent. I love these lenses. Gordon C. Lonsdale, Director of Photography for Bones. Focus. Probably the most well-known feature of a Cooke lens is how they throw focus. When the lens is set to minimum focus, the distortion is almost akin to an anamorphic lens. The middle of the image magnifies, tapering off towards the edges and giving an almost circular distortion. This has been a staple of the Cooke Look since the 20s, and a go-to effect for many cinematographers, as close-ups on Cooke lenses give an almost dreamlike feel. Centered frame, a person or object in focus has almost halo effect around them. These spectacular lenses give lovely impressionistic, out-of-focus characteristics behind the subject. The sets, the locations behind the actors have a very cinematic feel with beautiful bokeh, but their real strength is how they render faces and kindness, never harsh or too sharp. Brian Pearson, ASC, Director of Photography, ABC's The Crossing. Color. Arguably the most important aspect of Cooke's lenses. Cooke lenses have long been associated with the warm palettes of the Golden Age in the 70s. Where does this inherent warmth come from? It's a fact that when viewed through a vectorscope on a camera independently white balanced and pointed at a white reference, Cooke lenses possesses a yellow bias. Consistently maintaining the color balance across the range means all our lenses are color matched to give a seamless look when shots are mixed in production. This painstaking process, in part, why Cooke lenses take time and skill to construct. Beautiful Cooke Look admire their balanced color and smooth contrast. They're sharp and give a real clarity, yet they are never brutal. They bring a consistent warmth to the color, which is natural and close to what the human eye sees. Ed Lackman, ASC on Aaron Brockovich. The Expert's View. We asked the people who really know, cinematographers working at the top of their game. The lenses are like a paintbrush, like a window into our vision. And if you really want the audience to feel something, you want to get your story across, you want to show them something that they can kind of see something familiar in the image, something that maybe they've seen before, something that kind of captures their imagination, captures the story, and really makes them see the human face and make them want to keep watching, because that's something that, as a cinematographer, you want to translate what you see, what you feel from the set, and reimagine it, recreate that feeling on the big screen in the cinema. Hopefully the audience will get that feeling as well. These lenses are a tool amongst other tools that we all have access to, but if you have the budget, or you want to buy these lenses to have in your kit, it's what you do with these lenses that really makes the difference in your work and the theory behind why you're using them and what you're trying to say. Lots of teeth on here, so if you wanted to hook up a motor, which they did on Adolescence, they could control they actually had a variable ND that they could change as well with the motor, but they could also change the iris here, the f-stop, t-stop, same thing as the lens cap. And this is the focus ring, so that's got a lot of throw in it. Hard stops, so you know where the ends are, so you can mark it with a bit of tape or however you like to do it, so you can hit your stop, hit your points. Yeah, so professional cinema lens in a small size. You can almost, fit your hand around it. Very small. I'll show you. So this is 32. So the thread size is like 58. So this is my 24 Canon. You can see it's a lot. That's an extra thing for the RF converter, but it's about the same length, but the width is much larger for the Canon. Not sure about the weight. Have to get a weigh out machine out. So this is the 18mm. It's much wider. I'm about arm's length from the camera. Not an AI deepfake. That was the test. You could put your hand in front of the face for a deepfake, so you can tell. Probably be a good lens for vlogging, although it's $4,500. Don't want to drop it. It has no autofocus, which is hard to vlog with. So you got to make sure everything's tack sharp. I have a monitor on top. I'll just do a little behind the scenes video so you can see what I'm talking about. Give you an idea of the distance. So yeah, you have to kind of record yourself with a setup like this, so you know it's in focus. And with something like this, you can zoom in and play around with the focus, keep it like that, or keep it zoomed out to check the framing. The Cooke Look, we've talked about it a bunch. The human touch, the same thing with like camera operating. Did the dance. It's like trying to find those moments here and there. Something that AI quite hasn't picked up on yet, and they probably hopefully never will. And that's the main goal for filmmakers around the whole world, is they're trying to get the audience to feel something. So these lenses are pretty compact, made for mirrorless cameras, very small, the complete metal design, all completely manual focus. As you can see, this is the t-stop or aperture adjustment. So it goes from 2.4 all the way to 16. You can go back and forth. This is the focus, so it can focus a lot. This is the 50mm, but they're all pretty much the same size, 58mm thread, so you can thread on a filter in the end. The 18mm, which I have on now, has a 77mm filter thread on the end. And the 100mm has the same, but the rest are about the same size. So they're all pretty accurate. Color, fantastic lenses. Thanks to Cooke for lending them to me. I'm sure you'll see them in plenty of productions in the future. If you get a chance, check them out. Check out their website. Get the Cooke Look for your film. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and we'll see you in the next one.